Life of Pi. Okay, I see there's a big tiger on the poster, so Life of Pi. Well, obviously, it's about the ancient Greek Pythagoras, who, as we know, invented the Pythagoras theorem. So Pythagoras, whose name is shortened in the film to Pi, befriends a tiger, and that tiger and him travel the world, and Pythagoras goes, "Ha ha ha, that's not mathematics, ha ha, that's not democracy, get him, tiger!" And the tiger just, mauls anything that isn't mathematical or democracy related. And that's how he spreads democracy to the world in the Life of Pi. Pretty inspirational story. Shape of Water. It looks like some lady with a frogman? Frogman. One of those, but it's one of those swamp monsters with a heart of gold. And he's decided he doesn't want to be a swamp monster anymore. He wants to be an accountant. And he teams up with this lady who teaches him how to be an accountant. It's actually, if I'm not mistaken, it's a remake of My Fair Lady, but instead of, teaching a lady how to speak proper English, it's teaching a swamp monster how to be an accountant. Marilyn Monroe is a sassy waitress at this late night diner place in America, and she's serving coffee all day and all night to these truckers that come by, and but she serves a coffee quite cold, and she's quite known for serving cold coffee to all these truckers who like it. They just like that Marilyn Monroe is talking to them, so they accept it. But then one trucker guy comes in and he's like, "Hey, some like it hot, and then Marilyn Monroe's like, "Oh my goodness, I didn't realise I hadn't turned on the coffee machine. Would you like another cup of coffee, and I'll make sure it's hot this time?" The trucker's like, "That would be lovely, thank you." And then she packs it in, jumps in the truck, and they truck away to Albuquerque. Yeah, and they live happily ever after in Albuquerque together. Jason Bateman and Rachel McAdams make this terrier run through all these kinds of mazes or games, and invite the neighbourhood around and to watch this terrier run through a maze of traps and whatnot. But the terrier's really smart, he's really smart, and he runs around and escapes the traps and figures out how to get out, and the people in the neighbourhood bet on it because they're all horrible, because they like to watch a dog figure out mazes and traps and stuff. And then the terrier gets out in the end and foils Jason Bateman and Rachel McAdams' dog maze betting ring. Olivia Coleman wants to be the favourite aristocrat lady of the town that she lives in. She wants to be the favourite one there, but nobody likes her at first. She's sad about this. Everyone likes Emma Stone and Rachel Wise, so Olivia Coleman says, "Hey, I'm gonna set about and make sure I'm the favourite." So she starts a sort of Victorian era style I want to say X Factor kind of series, goes out and starts singing and invites other people to sing, and there's judges there, and Olivia Coleman sang her bloody heart out in that film, and it was beautiful. Well, judging from the poster, obviously the Breakfast Club is a bunch of teenage delinquents who are, delinquents. They don't get along with the school, they don't get along with the rules, and they don't get along with each other. But they eventually start to like one another, and by the end, they all come to realise that rules are good and make up the fabric of society, and they never break another rule again, and they become best friends with the principal of the school, who then at the end, in celebration of their friendship together, starts singing, "Don't you forget about me." Well, there's a big crime that happens, or a sort of crime adjacent event that happens, and the police are like, well, we better pull in all the usual suspects. Waka waka. They bring in all these usual suspects, and they start questioning them, like, did you do it? No. Did you do it? No. Did you do it? No. And then they ask this guy, and he's like, did you do it? And he's like, maybe. And then the rest of them start going, maybe. And the police are like, well, we can't have this like Spartacus thing happening, so we're all gonna have to keep you in and question you. And then it comes out that one of them is called Kaiser Sose, and and that turns out to be who is it again? Very obvious, as I recall. Morgan Freeman? I'm gonna say it was Morgan Freeman. It was Kaiser Sose. WallE. So I'm going to say that it's about a robot called E. And he comes across a big wall of junk. And he's like, well, I've came all this way, I need to go meet the other robot people, so I need to get over this wall. And so WallE is like, it's like, probably should be called E's Wall, but it's called WallE. So so he starts climbing, and he doesn't appear to have any legs, so he like tries to use his wee wheels to get up the wall, and he struggles, and it's really like a battle between robot and really tall wall. And then when he reaches the top of the wall, he learns something about being human, and being true to himself. The Godfather. I mean, of course I know what the Godfather's plot is, right? Who doesn't know the plot to the Godfather? There's a sharply dressed Italian-American family. They have a lot of meetings and in dimly lit restaurants and whatnot. And it's one of their family's daughter, so like the head of the family kind of thing, his daughter has a wedding, and the daughter has a child, and he's like, I will give you anything on this, the day of my daughter's wedding. And the daughter looks to her father, and she's like, well, actually, all I have ever wanted, Father, is that for you to be the godfather of my child. because I'm pregnant. And then he becomes the godfather to the child, and a grandfather and a godfather to his grandson or granddaughter. I don't know. So yeah, if you didn't know the plot to Godfather, well, there it is. A classic one, Gone with the Wind, with Clark Gable and Vivien Leigh. Yes, of course. Okay, so obviously, the Gone with the Wind is a very famous storyline. So I'm really more retelling the famous storyline. So the famous storyline of Gone with the Wind is Clark Gable is obviously very fast at running. And Vivien Leigh is obviously this sort of, she's a strong working woman, and she's in some sort of trouble, and Clark Gable, really fast, like almost super fast, runs by and saves her from like a falling piece of debris, and they end up falling in love, and he's like, hey, if you jump on my back, I could, run really fast, and we could go anywhere together, because I really like you, and we could spend our lives just running, at the speed of wind, with you on my back. How do you feel about that? And Vivien Leigh's like, yeah, I really like that. And then, so she hops on his back, and Clark Gable starts sprinting at supersonic speed, and they are then, in fact, gone with the wind. And I think that's our lot. Well, that was fun. I hope you enjoyed this very special Stirrat Special. I hope you've had so much fun with me today. I know I have. I've definitely seen all those movies before. I watch movies, so honestly, I really do. Maybe not all of those ones, but some. A lot. Go watch Bridget Jones. It's a really good movie. Really good movie.